Alright, so it looks like the NRL site has crashed. How good. Everyone's keen for team lists. Let's- Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Nuff channel. In this video, we're going to look at Team List Tuesday for round 14 of the 2025 NRL season. But before we get stuck in to the team list, quick review of Sportsdeck Dream Team. So for round 13, scored 1,005, which was a slight increase in the season rank of 7. So we'll have a look at the team. So Connor Watson with a 59. Terrell May's captain with 75 was quite good. Payne Haas with a 45 was obviously a bit under par, but that's fine. Takura finally got a game, 14 for him. Obviously wasn't part of the team. In the back row, we had Isaiah Yeo with the 48, so also backing up from Origin. Hubner with the 53 was quite good, and Kyle Matangi, our trade-in this week, was fantastic with 87. On the bench, we had Horsburgh and Hosking with 44, 43 respectively. And I guess we can start to look towards letting those two go. They won't play round 15 because of the bye. In the halves, Nathan Cleary, Luke Metcalf, both outstanding, 75 and 77 respectively. Ruben Garrick with 48 was quite good. We ended up bringing in McCarthy instead of, I think, Laybut was in the initial video last week. Cheapy from Newcastle probably had a little bit more of a runway in terms of cash generation, although Bradman Best isn't too far away. So we might get another game or two out of him, but he scored 27. Billy Smith with 43 was quite good. And then our back line, we had Tedesco and Campbell lighted up, 67, 71 respectively. Yongi with just the 29, and Nwanga Tuase with a 39-point return. And we had King Togia in the flex with a 23-point return, which I'm pretty sure would have been the one that dropped out of our score anyway. In terms of head-to-head, we got the win over Munter United, Mark's team. So he was missing a few players, so not too sure what's going on there. Like had Purdue and Bird on the bench who both scored really well. So it might be a bit of an abandoned team there, but Cleary captain was good. Terrell May's in the side. Scott Drinkwater 61 was solid. Had Metcalf as well. But I guess the equal top score this week with myself was the Brisbane Broncos. So Oliver will be a bit stiff, scoring 1,000 and getting done in the head-to-head. So we can see both of their teams here. So for Nathan, he's got Jaden Campbell, Lehigh Hopewadi, Metcalf, Aaron Clark. Ewan Aitken scored pretty well. And then on the other side for Oliver's team, Jazz Tavanga scored well. Kyle Matangi, Tedesco, Tarpany and Savala both solid. They both captain May both had Cleary. So some really solid teams there. Just quickly, for those that are interested, we'll just quickly look at round 13 points. So Stafford Toller went well also. Alex Johnson with 3 tries, scoring an 86. Tommy Dearden scored well and is named just to play apparently. Jack Williams, interesting sort of dual position forward. Olkwatu up there as well. Couchman. Jackson Purdue we're interested in as well. But in terms of break evens this week, I don't know if there's anything too crazy. Jack Bird is super cheap, 243k. So he must have sunk pretty much the bottom dollar before the 61. So, playing off the bench though, there's not a lot of upside. Garner, if he comes back, could be worth a look. Alex Johnston has good bite coverage, so could be a sneaky option at wing fullback, but is relying on tries. Appy Coruscant would be next on the list. Heath Mason looked pretty good in the 6, although Latu Finu might be back, so we'll have to wait and see. Jackson Paulo named again, so could be a good one. Obviously, with round 15 coming up, the Cowboys are available, so it could be a cheap number for round 15 in particular. Um, yeah, after that, Nathan Lawson named to play as well, which is good signs. At least I'm assuming this is accurate. But just, I guess, quickly for my trades this week, what I'm thinking um, is looking to potentially upgrade a couple of slots. Um, I'm thinking if we trade Zach Hosking out, he's got a slightly higher break even than Horsburgh. And the pick that I really want to bring in is Toby Couchman. So I think the Dragons have the buy in round 16, but after that, they're in the clear. So if we can carry him through there, I think he offers good value. And then the other option, um, which I've got to remember, I think it was I had just enough money to upgrade Billy Smith, who sort of hasn't really done a lot. But if I bring in Jackson Purdy, as you can see, it uses pretty much all the cash, but it is, I think, an upgrade in the center position. So um, we can just swap these two around. So pretty much Iro Kiraz will be my two keepers in the center wing. Purdue obviously offers a bit of coverage, which is nice. Ruben Garrick obviously offers that flexibility, which is great, but he could potentially be upgraded in the near future. Actually, I need to swap him there. Um, so, yeah, that's fine. King Talia probably go back to the bench. I'll just throw Katoa on there for now. So I think McInnes has got to come in because Watson is out. So yeah, so basically that's going to be the team. So McInnes, Mayhaas, Yo, the South guys, Couchman, Horsburgh, might come off the bench just depending on fixtures. The four halves all in with the use of the flex. And then Purdue is my fourth reserve in the centres. So, yeah, I think the plan next week will be Iongi and Horsburgh on the bye, just upgrading them, or I guess sidewaysing them with $400 in the bank. But yeah, that's Dream Team at the moment. So if we refresh, we should have team lists now. And it's slow, which means a lot of people are on here having a look, which is always a good sign that it's up and running. uh, might have to cut back to this if it takes. All right, so we've got a little bit creative here. We've gone onto the Code Sports website due to the NRL website crashing, all right, on team lists. So we'll have a look at the teams, starting with the Knights and Seagulls on Thursday night. So just having a look through, it doesn't look like, well, Greg Marzio in the extended reserve, so one to watch out for late there. But KP back at fullback. Um, so Jermaine McEwen, I think he hasn't featured on the bench for a few weeks. He's back, and Elijah Celesa Liao Moana, I'm guessing on the bench. I'd suggest it's his debut. Um, so with a few injuries there, the Knights might be one to look at cheap number for next week potentially. Seagulls, so Tom Travojevic still out, so Lehigh Opawati at fullback again. Um, I think other than that, nothing too different. Sipley in the starting team for Aloye, who went down injured. Jake Travojevic back, which means Tavanga reverts to the bench. Um, so I guess holding him in fantasy might be a little bit trickier, but we'll see how that goes. Storm and Cowboys on Friday night. Oh, yeah, early Friday night. So for the Storm, I guess the likes of Harry Grant, Xavier Coates back. Pretty much their full strength side, just looking through from memory. Can't see any glaring omissions. And for the Cowboys, so as we said, Jackson Paulo named again on the wing. Although Braden Burns is on the extended reserve. I think Talangi is the one we've got to worry about whenever he appears on the list, but doesn't appear as yet. Um, so yeah, other than that, I think forward pack looks as full strength as last week. Dolphins Dragons. So the Dolphins off the bye. Backline looks same as usual. Oren Keeley named to start. Lemuelu on the bench might be the sneaky late change there, but Marshall King and Max Plath on the extended bench. So one to keep an eye out for. Obviously, Plath probably more relevant for Supercoach and fantasy, but Marshall King is a bit of a point of difference at hooker as well. For the Dragons, so Tui Pilotu named back in the starting team, but Nathan Lawson keeps his spot. Tyrell Sloan dropped to the bench, so might have a nice little cheapie that plays round 15 in Nathan Lawson. Uh, Other than that, Couchman named on the edge again, so I saw he played 80 minutes and scored really well, but maybe it's a case of if Fatala Mariner comes in, he slots into the middle a bit more. I'm not sure how they've used him in the 12. So I guess with Jaden Sewer out as well, it's probably going to be Luciano that has a breather. So could be good for Toby Couchman owners. Sharks Warriors. The Sharks off the bye should be pretty well as expected. Yep. So I did see something about Toby Rudolph should be back this week, but not named in the squad. Teague Wilton back, so Billy Burns drops back to 18th man. That's probably the big in there. For the Warriors, so Kurt Capel reverting back to the centres with Rocco Berry going down injured again, which sees Halasima move back in to the edge spot, and Jackson Ford replacing Mitch Barnett. So I guess they got Laban, Valmugger, and Stowers Smith on the bench as the middle forward rotation there. Although Laban's more of an edge forward, so near Corey will probably slide in. But yeah, big loss with Mitch Barnett. But Jackson Ford's done that sort of job in the past. Broncos Titans. So for the Bronx, Reece Walsh back at fullback is probably the big difference to recent teams. Other than that, Pat Carrigan back to the 13, so Corey Jensen to start, Kobe Hetherington on the bench. So a couple of big changes there for the Broncos. And for the Titans, Campbell named at fullback again. So Weaver at 7. AJ Brimson named in the 18. So not sure if he can play or if they're trying to prove his fitness. I think surely if he is fit, he'll come in for Weaver and Campbell will revert to halfback. AJ will play fullback. Alan Fitzgibbon getting another run. I think he was on the bubble for Supercoach. So if you think the Titans have any attack on that edge, whichever side he's playing on, there's an option. Well, an interesting name, Sean Mullaney, named in the 9. So no Sammy Verrills. Don't know what happened there, but I might have to look into that one a little bit more myself. Raiders Rabbitohs. So for the Raiders, can't imagine too many changes. Doesn't look like it from the starting 13. I guess Smithies on the bench, Pup Lee named to start. Do they switch that around as what they've been doing? Remains to be seen. And for the Rabbitohs, so Jack Whiten named to return, which is massive. Isaiah Tass slides out onto the wing. Cody Walker named back in the 6 as well. So Jamie Humphries also back. Was he? I think he was just under an injury cloud. So interestingly, Jaden Sullivan moves to the 14 and Jai Gray drops to the extended reserve. So that's a bit stiff on Jai Gray, but I guess when you've got someone like Latrell in your main spot, then it is hard to force your way into the 17. Tigers Panthers. So for the Tigers, Jarrell Skelton named back on the wing off a couple of hamstring strains. Probably an avoid. There's a risk of re-injury. doesn't look like. Oh, Latu Finu named in the 14. So Heath Mason gets another run in the 6. So that's an interesting setup. Alex Seyfarth named in the 13 for Alex Twal, and Tony Sukkar gets a start on the wing. So second row, sorry, getting the positions confused. So some interesting options there potentially. The Panthers, so backline looks pretty much as expected. Still no Paul Alamotti, who's on the extended reserve. Luke Garner also on the extended reserve. So, watch this space for maybe Casey McLean or Tom Jenkins to make way. Perhaps Isaac Tungo reverting back to the bench. Who knows how they're going to run that. But the forward pack, looks like pretty much as expected. Dane Laurie and Summerton on the bench, which is interesting. So the hooker and then the outside back cover. So obviously big minutes for Lindsay Smith, Isaiah Yeo, etc. And then the Bulldogs and Eels. So for the Bulldogs, backline, same as usual. Toby Sexton still in the 7. So there was a bit of talk about Lockie Galvin starting from reserve grade, basically just working his way into the system. It looks like they've made good on that promise. He's named in the 23, so is a chance of making his way in if need be. But I think they might blood him through reserve grade. The forward pack, so Josh Curran back. He was back last week. Actually, yeah, that's the big name I skipped. I saw in the picture at the start, Jacob Kiraz, back from his calf injury early. That would be massive for someone like me who's held him in all formats. He will definitely be getting a start if he does get named on Monday. It is a bit hard because you do have to wait till Monday. So, we'll assess that over the coming days, see if it is viable. But hopefully he does get a run. But yeah, pretty full strength side there, apart from the likes of names just lost. Jacob Preston's back next week. Sam Hughes is on the bench, so they've gone with Saluka Fafita up front. You'd imagine next week with Preston back, Curran would just slot back in the 10. And then I think it's just James Salmon, might be about the only injury. So nice. And for the Eels, back line's pretty full strength. Doesn't look any different, to be honest. Yep, Moretti, Madison, Sam Rani on the bench. So pretty solid squad there. And the Roosters on the bye. So got there in the end. I guess the big news that's fantasy relevant. If I just go back from the top to remind myself, no Tom Trbojevic, but even then we want to see something from the hamstring before we commit. Nathan Lawson has a cheapie potentially. Go early in Supercoach. Just get on now in fantasy potentially. Reece Walsh is a big back for the Broncos, so one to consider there, particularly Supercoach. And then Lockie Galvin on the bench. I think that's whether that's Supercoach fantasy relevant, not too sure, but big news in the world of footy anyway. So we might wrap the video up there. As always, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. Like if you enjoy the NRL content, just realised my head slid down the screen there. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. Other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.